Very excited to talk to my next guest, one of the most recognizable people in boxing, King Gabe Rosado. He is going to be fighting Daniel Jacobs coming up next week at the Hollywood Hard Rock, the Guitar Hotel. He is going to be taking him on DAZN. You guys can check it out there. It's been fun, DAZN bringing a couple fights down here. How excited are you for the matchup, man, as camp winds down?
Yeah, man, excited, under the circumstances that we're going through, man, to be able to, fight such a big fight, man, is, definitely a blessing, man. So looking forward to it.
You got him shook, man. Like I don't normally see Daniel Jacobs this, animated, and you got under his skin. Planned.
Yeah,
What have you done to rattle the cage with him?
Man, I just was speaking facts. I really ain't make nothing up. I saw on his Instagram, he had posted something where like the zone was following him or whatever, and he was saying that I copped the plea and didn't, that I wasn't saying I didn't mean these things, and I was just saying it to get a fight. Like, that wasn't true. I mean, I didn't cop a plea. I said what I said. I said if he took my route as a professional, we wouldn't even know who Danny Jacobs is. My route is if you look at my resume, the type of fights I fought back to back, the big names back to back, and it was a tough schedule, man. So for me to be here, just shows how resilient I am.
Why did you take that tactic, Gabe? Like you are not, if you like look up the record, like not afraid to take on anybody. When in today's day and age, people avoid people. Like that's the type of thing. But I do think that's a thing appreciated by the fans with you. Why they stick with you through a lot. Like what went through that decision in your career to take that type of route?
I think it's just being true to myself. And just like not allowing anyone to dictate, how I'm gonna move. I've really self-managed myself throughout my entire career almost. I've had help with certain people, but for the most part, I always call the shots and what I'm gonna do. And I think when you're like that, man, when you're genuine and you're you, that stands out. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of fighters are trying to imitate Floyd and hold on to that O. And I don't even really know if it's the fighters. It's probably like their management and the promoters that, are pushing them into that route. But, I'm just not that guy. I just kind of like to be me. I like to move how I move. And I think the fans just kind of see, something that's just authentic and real.
I know that fighters like to stay focused on the task at hand, but what do you hope a win against Daniel Jacobs will do for you? What do you hope it vaults you to in this guy, the next wave of your career?
Yeah, well, the 68-pound division is loaded. You have Sandra Smith, Benavidez, Canelo, Jacobs, me. Charlo might move up. So it's a loaded division, man. So any fight with those guys is a great fight. It's a big fight. I think this win definitely puts us in position of, a world title, and that's the goal. The goal is for me the ultimate goal is for me to get a world title, but I'm not looking past Jacobs. I'm locked in, I'm focused. I know the fight's going to be a tough fight. It's going to take a lot to pull out the win, but, I'm preparing myself to do what I got to do to win.
You've been with Freddie Roach now for about a year. Is something like that? Like how?
Yeah, a little over a year now.
What's
we
that?
fought back in December 20th, got a unanimous decision. But this is our first camp where we're really locked in and have worked on a game plan and really, but I've known Freddie since 2012. So I've known Freddie for a while now, but this is our first time locking in, man, and the camp has been great.
What's it like working with a guy who many would say is a legendary trainer? Has been through on the biggest stages. What have you felt that impact like in your career working with him?
Just learning a lot from him. Professionalism, just locked in, consistency. I think that's the best thing in a trainer is just consistent. Every day just working on the goal. And it's just all business, and that's what I need. It's pure discipline and just being locked in.
Do you feel like you're learning anything new? I mean, if our guy's been in the sport that long, is anything finely tuned, anything like that's been picked up from him?
Well, yeah, at this point, my 14th year as a pro, you know, Freddie really doesn't have to show me how to fight, but as far as game plan and showing me how to use certain technique in certain situations, you definitely are learning something new, and I think that's the beauty of boxing. You're always going to learn. And, so with Freddie, being the experienced trainer that he is, a former fighter, he definitely shows me a lot of things that I can definitely use in this fight.
What do you think of Danny Jacobs right now as a fighter? Like, do you think he's past his prime a little bit? The guy, or is he still the guy that's at the level that many people thought beat Triple G? Like, what kind of Danny Jacobs do you think you're going to get next week?
I'm training for the best Danny Jacobs. I think he's still a sharp fighter, still strong. We're the same age. So no one really has an advantage as far as youth or anything like that, right? So I think it's a fight where we're both experienced guys. It's just going to come down to, I think it's going to just come down to will, who wants it more.
You came, you mentioned something in the press conference, like you've known him, I guess, or have had an eye on him for a while with you guys both coming up. How, I guess common is that? Like you guys coming up in the same circles or having an eye on how young you guys are at that time, and when do you have it in your mind that you might cross paths?
When I had fought Peter Quillin, he was up for the winner of that fight, and it was a fight that I was ahead on the scorecards and winning, so they got stopped on a cut in the championship rounds. But yeah, he's kind of been on my radar since then, and it was always a fight that I thought would happen, a few years back. But we're still relevant and we're still making noise, So I think the fight is, it's not too late. It's a great fight. There's history behind it, man. So I think it's just one of those things. It's a fight where it's just there's no title on the line, but it's pride on the line. It's getting that one on each other. Like I got that. So I think it's a lot of pride and ego in this fight.
It's a fun one too because you guys are going to be like, it's like Thanksgiving weekend, so people are all going to be gathered around looking for stuff to watch. So it's a great thing. I tell you, man, I wish it was because we don't get a lot of big time fights down here in Florida, so it's kind of a cruel thing where it's like the fans aren't welcome. You can't go in because I've been dying for these big fights to come on down here nationally. We just had Devin Haney down here against Yoriyoki Scamboa, so it's great that you guys are coming down to the community. But it's almost a little bit cruel because, man, I would love it if you guys could do it in a packed building so you could see what the South Florida atmosphere was like.
No, for sure, and that's the weird part about it. A fight with me and Jacobs is a fight that definitely will bring in a big fan base. So the fact that we're doing it in the bubble, man, it's kind of different, man. But it is what it is.
Have you heard anything about the bubble as far as what prep is, what life is going to be like in there? I remember Devin Haney told me a couple weeks ago he's a little stir crazy.
Not at all, man. I haven't heard anything about it. I know I get there on Sunday, so at that point that, it's just kind of cutting the last few pounds. So my mind will just be elsewhere, so it is what it is.
I wanted to ask you this because I'm a big fan of the Rocky films and seeing you in Creed a couple of years back. As a guy from Philly, what was that like getting the opportunity to be kind of in that series? What is like your favorite memory, I guess, from getting to be in a part of that?
Man, it's pretty surreal, man. Like you grow up off Rocky, and it's iconic in Philadelphia, but even in the world. So it's like to be a part of it, man. It's something I'm proud of. It's my first movie. I moved to Los Angeles, and my first movie was shooting in back home in my city, man. So it's kind of crazy. But I would say my best experience from it was sitting down with Stallone and talking about old fights.
Wow.
And he's a big boxing fan, so he would talk to me about Duran, and he talked to me about Frazier because he sparred these guys. He sparred Duran and he sparred Frazier, and so we just kind of have conversations like that. He's he really knows his boxing. So I would say that was probably, and we went to dinner and had this conversation. So that was pretty dope to sit down with Stallone and just kind of have that conversation with him.
I bet. Could you explain to our audience? You know, we got a nice boxing community down here in South Florida, and a lot of good young fighters coming on up. But can you explain Philly boxing culture in a broad spectrum? Like, what is it like growing up in a city that is iconic, tied to the sweet science?
Yeah. You know, the boxing culture in Philadelphia is, you know, is intense. You know, there's no such thing as sparring. It's called gym wars. You know, you go to somebody's gym to spar, you know, it's a challenge. You know, someone's gonna get hurt. You know, that's just the mentality. I think that's what makes Philadelphia fighters so tough. You know, you never see a Philadelphia fighter that quits. You never see a Philadelphia fighter that puts on a bad performance. You know, they always come to fight, and I think it's because the culture and the gyms are so raw and rugged. You know, I came up in gyms where, you know, there was holes in the ceiling, and, you know, if it rain is dripping and there's buckets in the ring and we're sparring around the bucket, you know, like it's raw like that, man. So I think just that raw culture just makes fighters in Philly so tough.
Well, check out Gabe Rosado. He's going to be taking on Danny Jacobs coming up next Friday. You guys can see it on DAZN. It is I just re-upped with them, and you know, you get all your boxing fan, you get a subscription, all kinds of great fights. So
Sure.
check it on out, man. Welcome down to South Florida. When you do get down here, when do you travel down here? Is that coming up soon?
I get there Sunday.
All right, man. Well, safe travels.
Yep.
I hope enjoy of the city what you can, especially. I mean,
For
like,
sure.
you're gonna do a little post Thanksgiving
well,
vacay.
I'm gonna stay in Florida for a week after the fight. My oldest daughter lives in Florida, so
Cool.
I'll be spending some time with her out there after the fight.
All right, man. Well, all the health
Yep.
to you. We're looking forward to the show, and enjoy Florida when you're down here.
For sure. Thank you, man.
All right, take care.